is going on, Washington Commander fans? This is the Washington Command Post. This is Commander Plank, or JD, whichever you prefer. So, I literally made a video, maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, about the things going on with this team right now, and it's kind of making me laugh a little bit, but it's not in the same breath. So let me dive into what this is. So my video I posted was, with the cap space we have and no more cuts, what can Washington do? Basically get a middle linebacker, maybe a cheap veteran tight end, and get everything else in the draft. Well, in the last hour and a half, in the last like 20 minutes, all that stuff has just been flipped on its head. So Washington has now cut Landon Collins. Okay, which technically it's not on here showing yet, so maybe they haven't officially submitted it. But Landon Collins is said to be cut, which the Landon Collins cut to me irritates me, because if you just cut him on June 1st, you get $11 million rather than just $6 million. I don't get that one, but whatever. So we're at $20 million right now, and it's not reflecting any of the new signings we have. But Washington cut Eric Flowers, which that irritates me, and Matt Initis. Both of those irritate me. They irritate me because here's what irritates me about the Eric Flowers thing. We just traded for a franchise quarterback, one who is injury prone, may I mind you, and we let go of a starting caliber, good left guard and right guard. We lose both. We didn't get rid of Sheriff; he left. We weren't going to give him $16 million a year to protect to be a guard. Who's not going to do that? Eric Flowers was a good guard, good left guard for $10 million. That's a good value in the NFL. And we just cut him. I don't understand why. We better have some really good deals on the table. I'm going to try to figure out what we're doing with this. And then there's one more cut that happened that is not showing on here, and we cut DeShazier Everett. I kind of figured that one was coming because of his legal issues. Washington has signed Bobby McCain to, it's like a $5 million deal. So I'm going to try to put that in here at $5 million. It's about $5 million and some change, a 2-year contract. And we also re-signed J.D. McKissick. J.D. McKissick, everyone was mad about this, so I'm glad this is going to make everyone happy. I think he was $4,500, but I'm just going to round up. He initially, basically Washington matched the offer. Whatever offer he get, they matched, and he's coming back to Washington, so that's good news. Washington is signing Cam Sims. I don't know the terms of that one, so I'm not going to put it in. And they better be signing Joe Sly. So after those two, we're down to about $14 million. And this is not including the Landon Collins cut. So it's not in yet. Maybe they are waiting until June 1st. They're just letting them know now. I don't know. But I'm going to put it in as what it is now. So there's $6 million. So we're up to $21 million as a franchise in cap space. So my initial reaction was that we're only really going to get one position filled with that kind of money. Maybe two if you get a cheap veteran. But if I go through all of the positions real quick in free agency, what are we going to do there? Quarterback, we're not going to do anything there. We have a quarterback. We traded for one. We have Heineke. So we're good there. We might actually draft the third one. Running back, we're good. We got 3 running backs. We got Gibson, McKissick, and Patterson. Wide receiver, we're probably going to draft one. If we should not go wide receiver in free agency other than maybe a Cam Sims, which is he's super cheap. It's like $1 million. And the reason why I say that is this is a very, very deep receiver class. We can get, in the first round alone, there's so many good players. In the later rounds, there's good players. You can get players you need. And right now, the better players that we have, and I think they're banking on McLaurin and Curtis Samuel being available, plus with J.D. McKissick, we have another threat there. So we have a lot of good players, and you also have Yummy Brown. A different new quarterback changes a lot of things with those players. So tight end might be one that we attempt to fill a role on. And the reason why I think that is a lot of people were wanting us to get Zach Ertz, and I didn't dislike that idea. But it's how much I think O.J. Howard is the play here. He's still young. He only cost $22 million or $2.2 million. He's, like I said, he's going to be 27 when the season starts this year, I think. Yeah, I see this being a very good option. He's 28. I'm sorry, he's 28. So I think this would be a very good option for him. He's only valued at 2.2 million, like I said. And let's say we round up to 3. We go up to 3. That's still a value for a very solid tight end. He'd be a third tight end, but he would fill a role that we need right now. We have him, Bates, Logan Thomas, and potentially Samus Reyes. But we can't bank on that. So we might go offensive line. So there's 2 options you can go with. So right now our offensive line consists of this. Leno, Charles Leno, left tackle. Left guard, I guess, is Shady Charles. Center is Chase Roulier. Right guard is Wes Schweitzer. Right tackle is Samuel Cosme. So there's a couple options here. You can replace the guard spot and sign a guard. You can get a tackle and move Samuel Cosme down and just move Wes Schweitzer over to guard and have Sadiq Charles still a backup. So that's an option as well. I'm not going to go over those options in depth. Defensive line, we do need to fill a defensive line role. Backup. We don't have a lot of options. Unless someone's like out there that's like super cheap, like maybe Dante Fowler, but he's a defensive end, right? No, I don't need defensive end. I need defensive tackle. I need defensive tackles, not defensive ends. So I don't think there's a lot out there. I just don't think there's a large market out there for defensive tackles that are going to be super cheap. So I had, in my original video that I made, I had Washington drafting defensive tackles. There's some that fall to some pretty convenient spots in the draft engine that I use. But the big one I think Washington will sign in free agent is an outside linebacker. And I basically have 2 picked. Von Miller and not Von Miller. I meant to say inside, not outside linebacker. We don't need an outside linebacker. We have pretty decent outside linebackers, Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb. Getting a good middle linebacker makes it completes the Jamin Davis drafting, because it makes it so Jamin Davis does not have to play middle linebacker. He's not the X's and O's guy. He's just an athlete that plays, and that's what he is. Okay, he's got incredible athleticism. He's super fast. He's got a lot of good talents, but being a floor or a field general is not one of his assets. And that's what a middle linebacker has to do for the most part, is be a field general, and he's not that. He can't move places around for coverages and stuff to mask what to mirror what the defense is or the offense is doing. Miles Jack is the one I think we should go with. We can get him for a longer term deal. Bobby Wagner is probably the best option, but I still think Miles Jack is younger. We can have him longer, so on and so forth. Either one of those I wouldn't complain about, but I think that's going to be our play. That's in my video. That was the only play I had where we're going to take a swing at it, like a higher end caliber middle linebacker. Miles Jack is my first one, but 1A and 1B is Bobby Wagner and Miles Jack. There are other options here, but none of them knock my socks off. Kyle Van Noy, I guess, is not bad. No one else is really like Ezekiel Turner, I guess, isn't bad. But no one else is really out of this world. Quan Alexander, I guess, isn't bad. But no one else is like out of this world as good as those 2. So I think those are your best plays when it comes to middle linebacker. And I think that's what Washington will sign as a middle linebacker. Now, what they sign beyond that is a different question. And they just signed They just signed a free agent. Or they just re-signed Bobby McCain. So I don't think they're going to go for another safety. I think they still have Jeremy Reeves. They still have Jeremy Reeves, Cameron Curl, Derek Forrester, whatever his last name is. Now Bobby McCain. That's 4 safeties. And technically, I mean, they haven't submitted the paperwork yet, but technically Landon Collins is supposed to be cut. And there's also, I heard a rumor somewhere that Landon Collins maybe doesn't want to leave. And he actually tests the market. No one wanted him, so he's okay with the money that Washington might want him to take a pay cut to. So we'll see on that. We'll see. But now, yeah, so that's the only thing I think Washington's going to do. They might get some players now they have the extra money, but I still think they're going to get a lot of stuff in the draft, and that's what I'm going to go over next. So Washington, so I'm going to do 2 different ones of these. The first one I'm going to do is no trade backs. I'm not trading backwards. So the first thing I'm going to do is draft Garrett Wilson. Okay? Receiver, very solid. He's not my actual favorite. I actually have a different favorite. Second round, we're going to either get an offensive tackle or a defensive tackle. I think defensive tackle is going to be where it's at. I'll look and see if there's an offensive tackle that's good, but the one I've consistently been picking is not falling to us anymore. So I'm going to go defensive tackle here. And this is Mathis. He can play. He can pretty much take Deron Payne's role if Deron Payne leaves in free agency next year, and he'll definitely serve as a backup to fill the void that is being left by losing Matt Ioannidis and losing Tim Settle. So that would be the best option in my opinion for Washington, is to go that route. Now, originally on a trade back, I think Washington, if they trade back, they're going to get a lot more things that they really need. So what else do they need? They need an offensive guard. So in the third round, and I think they're actually going to get one more pick. They're going to get a compensatory pick awarded to them because Deron Payne left. So I think they're going to get another third round pick. So this is going to be a little bit moot here. But offensive guard in the third round, I'm going to go with kid from Memphis. And then after this, it really, I think we should trade back, get more weapons, get more things. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of the extra things that I think Washington needs. I don't think they're going to need a running back anymore. That fixes this entire issue. I had them taking a running back in like a later round. But they don't need a running back anymore. What they need after this point is they need another defensive tackle, which I have one pick for the seventh round, so that'll be fine. But what they also really need is they might need another weapon. They might need a quarterback. I don't know if they'll take a quarterback now. The situation we're in now, they may not take a quarterback at all. It's fourth round. There's no one available anyway that I want. So the quarterback. This is not an ideal draft for me. I don't think Washington's going to be doing this in the draft. I think Washington will be trading back. They're not going to just rest on their laurels and just have like 2 picks. I think they'll draft another linebacker. I think they'll draft depth at the linebacker position in the 6th round. We'll see if there's a receiver available that I'd like. Danny Gray, solid receiver. Watched a podcast where the guy sold me on Danny Gray. Danny Gray is a very solid player. I think we can get him in the 6th round. He basically has a skill set of Antonio Brown. He's what Steven Sims was supposed to be. Okay? He doesn't have quite as good a hand. He's basically got the skill set of Antonio Brown. Hopefully with a lot less attitude. And then the last position I think we're going to fill is another defensive tackle. So 2 defensive tackles that we can fill. We got very good value out of late round like defensive end and outside linebacker picks. And last year, I think we'll do the same thing. So with no trade backs and just keeping our picks, Washington, this could be our draft. Garrett Wilson, pair him up with McLaurin, pair him up with Mathis, pair him up with Dillon, or pair him up with McLaurin, pair him up with Curtis Samuel. Okay, De'Ami Brown. There's 3-4 wide receivers right there that are going to be very hard to cover. All of them can burn you. Defensive tackle. We need depth. We're one injury away from having only one defensive tackle in this roster right now. And that we have Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. That's all we have. Offensive guard. We were literally one injury away from playing a nobody at guard. So that's where we're at right now. This could literally change between now and whenever I publish this video. And then Danny Gray, another receiver. We have a linebacker. It just builds some depth at linebacker. And then Dante Stills, defensive tackle for West Virginia. The reason why I like defensive tackle from West Virginia is they play a lot of 3-4. And I think it helps. I think they have to, you have to learn how to take on double teams, and that'll be very helping with this team, taking on a lot of double teams. So that's what it looks like if you don't trade back. Now I'm going to trade back real quick and do a quick one with the trade backs, and then that should conclude the video. Yeah. So go to my pick. I'm going to look for trade back. Baltimore seems to be a consistent one I can trade back with. So I trade back with Baltimore, and I'm going to try to trade back one more time. Now, consistently, please don't take my guy. Okay. Hopefully my guy's there. Okay. Chris Olave. Okay. So I'm going to go 5 picks. Now, I have Washington. I'm just going to go all the way to my pick. So I traded back twice, and I accumulated a couple second-round picks. This is what I think Washington should do. They should trade back. They should get a lot more draft picks. Now, pick number 10. Offensive tackle, no. They keep taking this guy. This guy, for some reason, went from being available in like mid-second to now is in whatever. So, same guy. This guy's been available in every draft I've done. Okay? I think this gives Washington more options. They got a defensive tackle here. They can get another defensive tackle if they really wanted to, go back to back. But I think this gives them a lot more possibilities. So the one I showed you over here fills a lot of holes. It definitely feels like some voids. But I think Washington can do better. When did I pick this guy? What pick was that? He's available later. Yeah, I'm not going to pick him now. So I can pick him in the 3rd round. So that's perfectly fine. I'll wait to get him. Yeah. So now I need to find position that I need. So inside linebacker is a good option. I think Christian Harris may be a reach here. But also, yeah, this is tough. This is a tough one. It really is. It really is a tough one right now. I'm going to go with Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson, okay. So the next pick. I think next pick we're going to go with an inside linebacker. I go Christian Harris. Good. The next pick. Let's see what we got here. Next pick. Okay, so I think if Washington trades back, they're going to get a quarterback, but they're not going to get one in earlier rounds. They'll get one in like a late round. So what does Washington need now? So we got a receiver. We can get another one later. Defensive tackle, offensive guard. Both can play right away. Inside linebacker. So over here, what I get? I got an inside linebacker over. Okay, so I got. Okay, so I can get a quarterback now. Or I can get defensive tackle. That's a tough one. This is a toughie. Because they might get a corner. Okay, I'll just get a quarterback right now. Carson Strong is someone I think he's a good developmental. He couldn't come in and play right away. I don't think he can play immediately. But I think he has some value in being able to play in a couple years. Once the Carson Wentz contract is up, and if he's not what we needed, what we thought he was going to be, yeah, so we got an offensive guard, we got an inside linebacker, we got a quarterback, defensive tackle. I'm going to go cornerback. I'm going to go with a cornerback right here. Cornerback is going to be I don't know if Ron is I think Ron banks on his own belief systems, and what I mean by that is I think he believes that Benjamin St-Juste was a good pickup, and if he's healthy, it changes a lot of things that happened with our team last year. I think that's really how Ron sees it. So initially, I think here, when I did this video before, this was a spot in which I took another running back. But I don't have to now. So let's say we don't get a tight end in free agency. Maybe a tight end here. So I can't think of any other positions we need. People say safety. We just signed a safety, and we have 4 on the roster. I'm going to say tight end. I'm going to say go tight end right here. And then the next 2 picks, we'll get a late round receiver, which Danny Gray seems to be falling right into Washington's lap every time I do this. And just like the last one, there's a defensive tackle that seems to be falling right into Washington's lap as well. So this would be an ideal draft where we trade back once or twice, get some extra late middle round picks. And then that's how we build the team. That's how we fill a lot of these voids on the team. I don't care about the grades, but just looking at like positions we have filled. These are starting caliber players, a handful of them. You have a developmental quarterback. A good Charlie Casterly, I think that's what his name is, says you should draft the quarterback every year because you never know. They could just develop. They could show out good in one preseason, and then someone else will take a flyer on and trade you some draft picks for them. This fits a lot of Washington's needs. Now, Washington needs defensive tackle depth, got it. 2 wide receiver depth, got it. Guard, need an offensive. We probably could have gotten another offensive lineman. It's possible. Christian Harris, inside linebacker, need it. Or just depth at the linebacker position, need it. Quarterback to develop, sure. And cornerback, Storm Duck. It's an interesting name. I like it. Tight end. If we don't want to spend $2 million in free agency, we can get one here for just as little. So that's pretty much my video. It's very interesting. I literally made this video. I'm like, it's so frustrating sometimes. I literally made this video and spent like 30-40 minutes on it, planning it out, and then just dropped bombshells. And I'm gonna post this like ASAP because I drug my feet in posting it, and now I have to redo it. I had to redo it. So I want to thank everyone for watching. This has been the Washington Command Post. My name is Commander Plank, and follow me on Twitter. It's Commander J Plank. And please subscribe to the channel. I'm getting close to where I want to be when it comes to followers. I got over 500. I want to get to 1,000 before the season starts. All right. Thanks. Have a good one, and hail to the Commanders.